So I am Kaya Graham. I am a local real estate agent here in South Florida, and I'm an international sales agent in Dominican Republic, Punta Cana, specifically Africa, Panama, and Dubai now. I just recently added Dubai a few months ago. And my company is the Relational Group here in Florida, but internationally it's Relational Realty Group.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I got some real estate game that's going to take you from South Florida, when you have your home here, as you see how the views look so beautiful, but also when you want to go to the Caribbean, and of course, Africa. Yeah, I brought you an agent that's international. So wherever you want to go, put your money, take your crypto, whatever you want to do, however you want to flip it. Now you're going to listen to the game. And for those of you who say, I want to be an international agent, how do you get into that? We're going to get into that so you can see some of the footsteps that she took and see if you can follow, because not everybody can go, yo. So, Kaya, welcome to Diversified Game. How you doing today?
I'm good, and thank you, first of all, for having me. I really, really appreciate you inviting me on the show. So I have no complaints. How are you today?
Blessed by the best. And whenever you have Africa on your either website or social, that algorithm, them AI agents, they're going to find it. I'm going to find it. So I want to get into how do you, they can go on the internet and see how you went from credit repair to getting into real estate after a super fast. But I want to know, how is it going first with getting Americans to invest in Africa? And is it the diaspora? Is it, the Chinese? Who are your clients? Because a lot of my audience, they want to get to Africa, but they don't have an agent. They don't know how real estate goes in the different countries. And some of them aren't going to do the work. They need an agent. So please, let's start there with, how Africa, why Africa? I'm just interested.
Oh, how Africa? Interesting how things go full circle. First of all, my dad is Nigerian. Some people may not know that. We don't have the best relationship, but still near and dear to me. He's my father. So him and my mom met at FAU. So Africa is already really in me, right? So I had the opportunity, I want to say, of October of 2023, the opportunity presented itself that I can start in Ghana. And as you, I'm sure, aware of, Ghana has exploded in the last few years with diaspora. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting, because I was already in Dominican Republic and enjoying doing it there. So I'm like, Africa, wait, okay, yeah, let me look into this. So I looked into it. I joined a group of women that were Americans that were joining with an actual company in Ghana. And so I joined
Wait,
October.
Oh,
Okay.
Your video went out for a second. Now it's back. I don't know what happened. Okay.
Okay.
Keep going. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, so I joined with this group of state agents that joined a real estate firm in Ghana, and that was October of 2023. February of 2024, I went there with that group of ladies to actually do a real estate tour. And I was just so impressed with what was presented. And to be in the continent, I hadn't been since I was 13. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. As an adult, I'm in another not another country, I'm in another continent again. So I was like, okay, very interesting. So I came back full throttle because I learned a lot while I was there. And what I realized, because it's trendy for people right now, right? Ghana, power to our people. But I'm a person that gets analytical when it comes to real estate, because I understand real estate from the US perspective, that is very important, especially going into international real estate where the licensing is not the same. The requirements aren't as strict on building processes and stuff like that. So I wanted to do my own research and go further in depth with making sure my investors are really secured in what they purchase. So good thing I partnered initially with a company that's actually on the ground. So when I go into a country, I usually partner with a company that's boots on the ground, because can I go to Africa every time an investor wants me to go to Africa with them? Absolutely not. So having a team on ground was really important. And it also helps me to grow and gain a lot more knowledge in the whole process of purchasing there. So like I said, all my investors are US based. So a lot of them are doing it for investments. A lot of them now are really reaching out now more about moving because of the different political climate changes that are going on currently in the United States. I have people that are like, Kaya, we got to have an exit plan. We want to be proactive and not reactive, which is a big thing for me. So that's pretty much how I got into the whole continent of Africa. And then fast forward March of 2024, I don't know if you're familiar with a group called 𝐸𝐻𝐻 Global. They call themselves the Zillow of Africa. um they reached out to me about working with me. And so for me, again, a very analytical, I need to do research to see, everybody's doing something now, right? So I actually partnered with them, but I've also formed my own partnership with developers directly in the country. Very well established direct developers in the country, myself as well. So I still have my partnership with 𝐸𝐻𝐻 Global. It's really good because it gives me and the clients, actual platform to search properties and stuff. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, me and the whole starting process of getting into that continent, basically.
You've tried it your way, but you're still in debt. Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster. 𝐿X.AI gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit 𝐿X.AI today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
Okay, and 𝐸𝐻𝐻, it's the same one with 𝐾𝐶N, and he lives in Canada. We actually we did something with him with the African diaspora. What was that, a year or two ago? And so very nice, very nice man. I'll tell you off air something funny he told me about Americans. Actually, I'll tell the audience. He said I had never been cursed out by somebody my grandmother's age until I dealt with Americans. And I said, I'm so sorry, because he is so nice, but our audience is a little rough sometimes. And it's and that's that. But yeah, very, 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 very kind young man, and I know he has a business partner. But yeah.
Quite cool.
So, quite cool. Yes, yes. Um, with people say Africa. And more and more people are waking up that yes, Africa has beautiful developments. I tell people my house there is bigger than here. What are the things that you have to one of the barriers is like mortgages. And people say, well, can I get a mortgage? And I say, you don't want a mortgage in an African country. Can you talk about, the financing and how people have been paying? Because a lot of people think that they can't buy cash in Africa, but they don't know how inexpensive it is.
It really is. So because, again, I'm already familiar with a lot of international real estate from the Dominican Republic, every developer that I partner with also has those interest-free payment plans. So I have not had anybody to go through actual mortgage financing in any country. Everyone of my investors have did the interest-free payment plans to the developer, which is why it's so important for me personally to ensure that I'm working with the right developers. Because as we know, you can find out really quick. Guess what? Don't just look on Instagram and see nice flyers and saying we're developing. You need to make sure the developer has money to actually build the projects as well. So I haven't had anybody to actually go through the mortgage financing, and I agree with you. The interest rates, just the terms and the conditions aren't really favorable for especially my investors when they know they could actually. So I've had investors to pull out HELOCs from their current US-based homes to pay for their properties. So that is pretty much what I have personally dealt with when investors are buying in any country, even Africa. They have the interest-free payment plans during construction, and they don't build houses in 2 weeks like in the US. So, you have a nice little period of time that you could work on your financing. But like I said, most of the investors that aren't going to pay fully cash, they've pulled HELOCs out of their current homes to purchase.
And when you do that, because I know there was a black politician who, hit the news, and a lot of people said, "Wait, she used her own money. Why is she getting in trouble?" Are there any? Do you have to let the bank know what you're going to use that money for when you're doing that? Because a lot of people they don't know, and they're like, "I don't know if that's legal. Is it easy to do? Can everybody do it as long as you have some, equity in your house?"
Well, I mean, I haven't had any. I'm personally buying myself internationally, not in Africa, but in Dominican Republic. Um, so I haven't had anyone have any issues. One of the investors that's doing it, her HELOC, she just said she's buying an investment property. Her bank didn't ask, is your investment property in the US or is it in another country? So I don't have any further knowledge to really go further with that question because they said they were buying an investment property. We're not questioned on where the investment property was at. But usually when you do HELOCs, because I do have my mortgage license here as well, when you typically do it, they do ask what's the purpose. So it's up to you to say what's the purpose of it. But for most people, especially the ones that I deal with, they're like, it's my equity. I'm paying you, bank, as long as you get your money. But that's a good question to see, like, are there some banks that want to get in depth? And if you do tell them you're buying a property in another country, is that not favorable? Because I don't see it being illegal, but is it favorable in the terms if you say I'm buying a property in Africa? I want to buy an investment property in Africa. Will that be an issue for their banks? I'm not aware of. Because again,
Okay.
I only had 2 clients that did HELOCs. Everybody else is doing interest repayment plans.
Are you a successful entrepreneur or one in training? You've got the vision, but do you have the right partner to build your brand, your team, and your future online and off? At CPRfirm.com, we offer expert consulting, financial guidance, and life coaching because we believe in doing life with our clients. After all, what is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Founded by Kellen and 𝐾𝐿, we help our clients not only succeed, but plan to retire rich. Your business deserves the best. Start building your legacy today at CPRfirm.com.
Okay. And it's good for y'all to know, because like if people go to Ghana, and shout out to Ghana, God willing, we'll be there in November with a group from the African diaspora team. In Ghana, as a foreigner, you're gonna have a leasehold, up to 50 years. Maybe you can do more than that. But people think, wait, I got tricked. No, you didn't read the paperwork. There's some people from Ghana who have a hard time getting freehold land. And so if you're going to take a HELOC, you need to know you need to pay this off by the 50th year. So you don't have, you don't feel played in your older age. But Canadians can do this much easier. And it's interesting because my Canadian friends, they live it up. And, but do you have a book or a course talking about international real estate where people don't have to bother you with the stupid stuff? They can always listen to this interview, but a book or a course that helps people kind of navigate through that.
It's funny that you mentioned that. In May, one of my coaching sessions with my mentor, that's what we discussed. In order to take some of the load off so I can, because now I'm back more focused on my stateside real estate than I was, because for like 3 years I was just like, the last 3 years I was just like so focused on my international platforms. So that was one of the things she said. So it's funny, this is confirmation for me. She said, Kaya, go ahead and take out some time. You're really good with putting some things together like this. Put something together where you can get questions answered. The only thing I told her, it's going to be more a little in depth because every country is different. So I don't have if you're telling me buy a house in Florida or an investment property in Florida, that's cut and dry. If you tell me do it for international and all my platforms, because everybody doesn't want to go to Africa. I get people that say it's too far. They don't like the leasehold. They just, even no matter how much you try to explain it to them, they don't want to hear it. They want fee simple title. So they tell me, Kaya, sounds good. Power to the people. We love it, but no, we're not going. It's too far. I want to have my property where I own it outright like I do here in the States. So everything's so uniquely different. So I just need to find a way, I guess, to do each individual country, maybe something, even if it's like an ebook for each individual country to kind of give down the most frequent asked questions, or just to minimize some of the meats and potatoes so people can read it and kind of understand, and eliminate some of those initial questions, because usually they're the same, but they're going to be different because each country is totally different, as you know, I'm sure.
Now, there's a way, and this is, using AI. We're AI very heavy over here. What we do for a lot of our clients, there's a way to AI that information so they can talk to the AI about it. And it could be you, or it could be a representative, in case you don't want to AI yourself, but there's a way. So we'll talk about that off air, because I could see it. I see it like a movie. When it sparks like a movie, yeah, share that idea, y'all. Ideas are cheap. Putting them together aren't always, but ideas are cheap. So y'all should be sharing out there and helping each other. Now, with Africa, you said you're getting a place in the Caribbean. You might already have some family land in Africa, but because you saw Ghana moving, if you go to Lekki or different places, even in Nigeria, things are booming. It makes Palm Beach look like Belgrade. Is there any reservations for yourself of maybe not getting something in an African nation, or you just have not found that right property yet?
Actually, I do have one developer that I really, really love over in Ghana. And so it may happen. Nigeria is not off limits. My son's best friend is from Liberia, and we're supposed to travel there next year with him and his family. Well, his family is there. They moved back from the States and moved there. So we're supposed to travel hopefully in February with them over there. They have a house in Liberia and they have a house in Ghana. So we're gonna go to both. So yeah, it's no reservation for me personally. The only reason why I haven't pulled the trigger is because I want to finish with my DR stuff first, and then after that's done next year, then I'm looking to expand as well, because I'm not opposed to moving to Africa. Like, that is how great of experience I had. Me and all the ladies, like, talking about it, it's just so, I tell everybody, you gotta go there at least once. At least once.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it at all. So yeah, not at all. I just don't want all my liquid tied up, since I'm doing interest-free payment plans. I don't need all my liquid tied up in all these different countries at once. So that's the only reason why I haven't pulled the trigger.
Everybody's mentioning the beauty of Africa. Oh, Africa. Can you name one or a few things that you just love for the person who's on the fence, who says they want to go, but they just don't know? What is it about Africa that, you were like, I love it?
Well, first of all, I live in the US, because I'm going to say this, and listeners, when you hear this, it's just me telling the truth in my personal belief system. People tell me, oh, I don't want to go to these other countries and this and that because of politics, racism, whatever. I said, well, you do realize you live in the US, a country that was built on racism. So let's just stop where we're at with that. So for me, going into Ghana specifically, I'll talk about, because that was so recent last year. It was just, I felt like I was at home. Keenan, I felt like I felt like I was just at home. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, to see people everywhere I go that look like me. You know what I'm saying? Different skin tones, but look like me, greeted me with respect. I greeted them with respect, because regardless, I remember me and our tour guide had a disagreement twice on that tour because we went to the Slave River Walk. And on the way out, when we first got there, the little kids came running up to our tour van and were like, "Oh, they were asking for things." And I was like, "Well, when I come back out," there was one girl in the group, and she had, oh God, I can't think of what they call the bowl on her head. She was selling things though, and I said, "Sweetheart, when I come back out, I'm gonna get change." And I'm going to buy something from you. And so when I came back out, the kids, of course, were there, and all of us ladies started giving them things, and I just gave them pretty much everything that I had on me at the time. And I said to myself, he said, I understand you guys are from the US, and see, in the US, you got welfare systems and they're just giving away monies to people. But here we're teaching our kids how to fish, not just be takers. And I said to him, I understand that. I said, but these children did not ask to be here on this earth, regardless if it's in Africa. This is my hard-earned money, and I believe in one higher source, and that's my God that I serve. And whenever he leaves on my heart to do something, I'm obedient. And the obedience in me told me to give this. And I even took the things from her in exchange. So I said, I did a transaction with her, sir. So, that was just one. So being there was just to see the kids out selling things or trying to make money at such young ages, just the food. I don't know. It's just kind of like a eerie feeling of I belong when I went there, to be honest with you. It was just like I belong. I was so at peace. I was so relaxed. There was only one thing that I saw that I didn't like. There was a guy on the side of the road selling this big rat. And the Uber driver was like, me and my friend were in the car together, and we were like, "Oh my God, what is he doing? What's he doing with that?" And he was so offended, but I didn't know that that's something that people eat, apparently, in certain parts of you know. And so that was the only thing on the trip that was like, "Oh my God, this is disgusting," because that's not an animal that we eat here in the U.S. at all that I know of. So I was just like, but other than that, it was just so. And for me, every time I go to any country, I always want to go to the less fortunate areas, right? Because it also gives me a sense of gratitude and honor for all the blessings that I do have. Because, we always feel like we need to get more, 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 more. And I'm like, what I have is like, I'm wealthy compared to some of these people. You understand? Like, it was just such a great sense of gratitude and honor being there. And I can't wait to go back. So for me personally, that's what I got from it.
Hello everyone! Join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney will take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature, and traditions from Yaoundé Market to rainforest adventures. Every page is a new discovery. Join the Cameroonian food, music, and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores here in Grams Park. Don't miss this adventure.
Okay, when you said on the side of the road, I thought you were going to talk about the person maybe urinating on the side of the road and openly.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see that? Oh, okay, no. Okay. Okay, keep your eyes open next time you go. Yeah. And it always depends where you are, but I've had clients like, "This is a nice neighborhood. Did y'all see that?" I say, "Hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go." What is it about even real estate that just makes you wake up every day where you're happy to do your job? There's always something in a business, in a company that you're able to do, and what's that special feeling that you get that keeps you pushing and going?
So for me, I have worked with a lot of first-time home buyers that have been told by other agents that they can't purchase, they need to get a second job, their credit needs to be at 800. I've even worked with a client that was told she had to divorce her spouse in order to qualify, and she did it. So for me, that's why everything about my business says relational realtor, relational group, relational realty group. Everything is about building those relationships. And to be able to be a facilitator in a transaction where I get people from the negative mindset that they can't do it to be able to get them to the closing table and take pictures of them signing their and getting their keys is just such an honor that real estate is my ministry. It has become my ministry. I only got into real estate because I had the credit repair business. And I was sending clients to agents and they would say, "Oh, thank you for the referral." But me not knowing that it's against the law to give kickbacks to non-licensed individuals. Now I know all that. But I was like, well, geez, I might as well just be a one-stop shop. I went to real estate school and got my license. And then I realized the laws, which why they didn't give me anything. But fast forward, I became so in love with real estate that I stopped my credit repair company. I closed my credit repair company. I no longer do credit repair. I refer them out. And it's just such a great feeling. And again, I'm just so obedient in my walk with Christ. And I just know that is where he placed me to be a shepherd and people buying land. And it's talked about a lot biblically, and I don't want to seem, like I don't know everybody's religious belief that's going to listen to this, but biblically it talks about processes of owning land and giving away land in the Bible. So to be able to have a piece of that in my legacy that my grandkids can hear about the things that I've done with real estate and to take it beyond the borders and beyond the continents, basically with Africa and Dubai now. It's just a really great feeling that I can go sleep at night and feel honored that I've done something. And to help the investors, the first time investors that thought they couldn't get into investing in real estate because of money and feeling like they couldn't get another loan because of debt to income ratios that we go by here, to show them these interest repayment plans that you can jumpstart and get into real estate with minimum upfront and make payments, has just been another great part of my ministry. So that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, and if you got to teach and preach and give them from scripture, do what you got to do. A lot of folks are lost in the sauce, so they don't know, so you got to let them know, and that's why they're listening to the game. With that, you were talking about kickbacks and how laws have changed or how and gotten more laws on the books. Can somebody get their license now and just get paid and make a good living just by giving referrals and getting the kickbacks if they get their license? Because not everybody is talented in the same thing. But do you know any people who just do referrals and make a healthy living? And what does that look like on average that you've seen with, are they getting $1,200 back on a referral? Because the internet will have us think everybody's getting rich and getting 100,000, So give us the real game on that, please.
Right. So definitely, I just talked about this last night, even with Bernice, about referral agents. I know a young lady that's with Keller Williams' office here in Palm Beach County. She works in administration for Keller Williams' office. So she only does referrals, and each year she makes minimum $60,000 just in her referrals with real estate. So yes, you can go get your license and only do referrals, and it's completely legal. You don't have to touch nothing. You just bring the people, and I call it the connector. Just be the connector and get paid. So of course, with real estate referrals, it depends on the negotiated amount that the person that's referring to the active agent, what they negotiate. I've seen between 25 to 50% referral fees. I typically and standardly stick to the 25 because guess what? You still have brokerage fees and people don't account for that. But every time I deal with a referral only agent, I always explain that. Like I don't do referrals fees with rentals. I don't personally really do rentals, but if I do decide to do a rental to help somebody out, I'm not giving another referral agent a referral fee. The money is too minimum for me to share, just to being honest, and to do the work. So I only do that with buying and selling. But it just depends on the cost of the property too. You got to keep that in mind. And now with all the changes to NAR, which really aren't real changes in my opinion, because it was always negotiable about the commissions. Depends on how much commission you're getting as well. So, like I said, I just stick to the 25% pretty much and call it a day on the international side because the price points are a little lower in most places compared to here in South Florida. Depending on the property, I can do a flat fee. Thank you. You still had to do nothing and you got this money for being the connector. So it's all negotiable, but definitely there is people that are making great money. The most I've seen where people were making 75,000 a year off of doing referrals only. But as long as you got a big sphere of influence, it could grow even larger. And if the price points that you referring people, it could even be even larger. If you're referring $1 million deals, of course, 25% of $100,000 commission is better than a $10,000 commission that you got 25% of. So it just kind of depends. But yeah, definitely, I even advise people to do that because guess what? You can, once you have your license, you can use your license to buy your own properties, sell your own properties, and do referrals only. Good to me.
And I want you to go deeper because you said 25%, but people will say, wait, so you mean 25% of the house sale? And that's not what it is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely 20. That's why I mentioned about $100,000 commission, 25% versus a $10,000 commission. So it's based off the commission amount, not the home amount or the purchase price or the sale price. It's based off of the commission. So people have to be very mindful in that. And the good thing about it, when you do referrals, there's an altar at closing here in the U.S. to show them how much commission was paid. Now, keeping in mind, if you are interested in becoming a referral agent only, the altar is just going to show how much total commission that was paid out to the brokerages. It's not going to show how much was paid to the agent. So you need to have those conversations with the agent. How much are their fees? Because it's a lot of fees that are associated with some brokerages. So you just need to keep that in mind. But you'll get your 25% or whatever negotiated amount off of the commission amount anyway. But just, keeping a lot of things in mind and just not thinking you're getting some free money just for introducing somebody. It's some other things that go along with it. And some agents put a lot of requirements on referral partners as well. Like they're like, no, you're not just bringing them to me and dropping them off and you want 50% of my commission, you better make sure they're pre-approved. Like when I refer clients, if possible, if I refer them to a Georgia agent, I'm going to have them pre-approved already when they go to that agent, unless they're doing new construction. So.
Okay. And just for you guys who say, oh, that's all confusing. Let's say it's $1 million property. We're just using numbers and how you negotiate. If the commission is 6%, there's 60,000 there. The buyer's agent cut could be 3%. There's 30,000 there. And then, so think about your 20%. You could be looking at 6,000. If it was 30%, you could be looking at 9,000. Just like you said, how you negotiate, all of that. But it's not very hard here in South Florida to find $1 million property. I tell everybody this is like the standard view in Palm Beach. Because, you got to have a pool. It's hot out here. And so when people come to you, please let them know the steps because I've connected people to agents that I've used here and other places. And one thing I always hear agents say, are they already, have they went to the bank? Are they approved? And a lot of folks, and especially in our community, we have all hosted bull, owl's eyes sometimes. We see it. But we don't always want to go through the steps. I see it, so I want it, and I'm not going through the steps. So what are the steps for you? Because I know you have a nice questionnaire online for people, but before they start DM you and overlooking that, what are the steps that are non-negotiable before you work with?
Well, my buyer brokerage agreement, if they're a buyer, we're going to go into an agreement where we're going to discuss upfront the terms, the services I'm going to offer you from start to finish. what my commission rate is and any associated fees as far as like if I'm going to charge for my transaction coordinator. I typically don't charge, but some agents charge their clients for their transaction coordinators. I do that as a part of my business service. So I don't charge, but there is a brokerage fee that is charged to the client. So all of that is detailed in my buyer broker agreement. So when NAR came out with this as being mandatory, and for people that don't know what NAR is, that's the National Association of Realtors. Because I understand me and Keelan may know, but the person viewing this may not know some of these acronyms. But when they came out that buyer brokerage agreements aren't negotiable anymore, I was already doing them. So it was easy for me to transition. So nothing to transition to because I was already doing it. So first step, we have a consultation, at least 45 minutes to an hour. I discuss my expectations. I even have my clients do what's called a DISC assessment, which is just an assessment of their behavior styles so that I can know how to deal with them. If we're going to seriously work together. That's not just from the initial consult. I send that to them. Once we decide and they sign my buyer brokerage agreement and we're going to work together, I have them complete the assessment so I can understand their behaviors when I'm saying certain things, or I'm asking for certain paperwork and they're frustrated or they're slow to get paperwork over to me. I can better understand, okay, they're C, they're over analytical. So, okay, they're not going to move as fast as me being a D. I move fast and execute. So, pretty much that's, if they want to work with me, that's something that we do. And then once they sign the buyer brokerage agreement, then we'll start with the financing piece. If they're not already pre-approved when they come to me, we'll start with the financing piece. And if they are pre-approved when they come to me, I need to talk with their lender. I need to know that this lender is going to get us to the closing table because that's the biggest piece, the money, right? So if you're not paying cash, we need a good lender that is on top of their job. And so I actually have a consultation with their lender if they come pre-approved already. Because I want to know that you're going to be able to get me to the closing table, my client to the closing table rather, because that's a lot of deals falling through the table because of the lender lack of knowledge. So, and that's pretty much it. When it's time to work with me, gonna educate you as much as possible throughout the process. If you got questions, and I also let people know up front now, I didn't know this in the beginning of starting my real estate journey. My boundaries as well, my hours, my time off for me and my family is very important. So making appointments with certain things, I get it. If you have a last minute question, that's one thing. But thinking that you're gonna call me at 10 p.m. and we're not even scheduled to close to 6 months, we're not doing that. So putting my boundaries up is very important for me in my business structure.
I love it. I love it. And how has your family dynamic and everything changed since you got into real estate, especially on the international real estate side? Tell people that, because a lot of people think, oh man, I can't do that because my kids, my husband, my this, my that, my dog, my parrot, my fish, but I try to leave that.
Yeah. Well, for me, shout out to my husband because I understand all husbands aren't made alike, right? So my husband is so supportive of my business. Last week, I had to go with a client to a new community in Indiantown, Florida. And my husband's like, okay, I'm going to go with you. We're going to head there before we go to Georgia because we were going to Georgia. So we actually met the client out there. My husband goes with me on my international trips. He was just with me in November and January in Panama. I even did him a surprise party in Panama at our Airbnb. So, I mean, he's super supportive. So that's definitely helpful. Now, as a team lead for agents, I kind of tell them everybody doesn't have that component, right? So you have to definitely work on making sure you have that proper balance. If the husband isn't coming to the table to support you fully in what you're doing, that could be very hard. But for me, it's been absolutely amazing. My son's an adult, so he's super pumped about Africa because, like I said, his best friend. So he's supportive, but my family dynamic is so important to me. But it's definitely very helpful, Keelan, that I have that real tight support system with my business and them incorporating themselves into my business. That's not everybody. So you definitely have to plan properly and have your boundaries set because, again, these clients will jump ship on you and you lost your family dynamics because you're on the phone at 12 o'clock at night talking to clients. Like, what are we doing? Bank of America isn't talking to anybody at 12 a.m. in the morning. So what are we doing? So for me, it's maybe a little different than the average person because my husband is so supportive of my business and anything that I do because I have a nonprofit as well. Very supportive. We're getting ready for our back to school drive. He's putting in the work with me side by side. So it's a little different, but I don't believe in excuses. So I tell people, figure it out. Sit it down, come up with a strategic plan and figure it out that it's going to work for you because we're living in some different times right now that we have to have our stuff set up properly in order to really thrive in these times that we're going to be facing pretty soon. So definitely, it looks different for everybody. So it's not a one-stop shop for sure, but for me, it works.
And I'm so glad you mentioned your husband because in this audience, I sometimes hear, hey, Kellen, we got some interesting people calling me. And I know that agents sometimes get what they think is a potential opportunity and people trying to call at night, hey, what you doing? And trying to pillow talk just because they're lonely. This ain't that. So you guys, you heard it. So when you think about, all the success that you have, all the things you're going to do, the best is yet to come. What is a community give back that you do or that you plan on doing in the future? And if there's any way for the audience to be able to help in that, please let it be known.
So as I was just saying, I have a nonprofit. This is our 14th annual back to school drive. It's going to be August 3rd in Riviera Beach. And this year is really going to be special for me because it's in the park that I actually grew up in myself, Cunningham Park. Basically, we're accepting any type of donations. I had someone reach out to me and say, Kaya, I saw the Amazon wish list. I don't know if I could get so many things off of it. I said, listen, sweetheart, go to Dollar Tree because we're accepting hygiene items. Go buy $10 worth of hygiene items and Kaya's happy. $5 worth of hygiene items, Kaya's happy because any little thing counts. So we're giving back to the kids because this is very important. Things are changing with our education system if you're not paying attention to it. So I always want to help facilitate with the families that are already struggling to make ends meet by giving back through that. So every year for the last 14 years, I've had a back to school drive. This year is definitely more near and dear to me this year because I'm talking to people that are having a lot of hardships. So my website, my landing page just for this event is teensoftomorrow.org. Keelan, I could share the flyer with you as well. Because I don't know how you reach out to your audience or the but I have a flyer for it and we're accepting any kind of donations. And if you can't donate, we're even taking volunteers to help the day of the event, which is August 3rd from 12 to 4. If you can come and volunteer, help us clean up. Anything counts. If you know somebody that does haircuts, to give away haircuts to the kids, to give back to the community, anything can help. One pencil can help one child change the trajectory of their lives because you'll be surprised at how many families I meet each year that didn't know how they were going to have the basic needs for their kids to start the first day of school.
No, awesome. And I will take the flyer and anything else that you have on it. And if I'm in town, I'd like to come check that out myself. That's a beautiful thing, and I love how you have mentioned what's to come. You keeping your pulse on what this market is about to do. A lot of people are going to be hurting with this big, beautiful bill that you guys. This is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. The majority of the country, so you're gonna get exactly what you asked for. But at the same time, a lot of people are going to make more money than they've made in the last 4 to 8 years, and that's just the way it goes. So I'm here for it all, God willing. Let the people know. Best way to contact you. We got teensoftomorrow.org. Best way to contact you when they're looking for an agent, if they want to get secure, where they're going to live before things get rough, if they're not already for them. But, people, this is America. You can buy it, and money is cheap compared to most of the world. So let them know where they can find you at. And I appreciate you for your time.
No, definitely. So you can find me on social media platforms. It's my name, Kaya Graham. If you're on Instagram, it's my first name, Kayai Real Estate. I have a website, the 𝐼GFL.com. That's my website for real estate. Also, if you're looking on the international side, it's investingwithkaya.com for the international side. So my number is 561-305-3417. Again, 561-305-3417. I look forward to talking, helping anybody that may be interested in becoming an international agent. I could help as much as I can to help facilitate that. It does look different in each country, but for the most part, Dominican Republic and Africa, I can definitely help you get jump started on those two for sure. Definitely easier than the other countries. And that's pretty much it. Kaya Graham's the name, and Kaya Real Estate is the Instagram. And I look forward to helping you, Keelan. Hats off to you for reaching out to me, connecting with me, working with me to get this date settled. Because I'm like, no, when I got your email, I'm like, I have figured it out. I'm going to be here to take this because, like I tell people, opportunity doesn't come always as often as we'd like, and you got to be mindful that you don't pass up an opportunity that was God sent. So I thank you very much for having this platform. Thank you for inviting me on. And if there's anything that I could do to help you, please don't hesitate and let me know as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I for sure will do. And I thank the audience. I thank y'all for checking this out. Coming to the end. This will be on the Diversified Game platform, but we are shifting a lot of the content to the 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽 platform. You guys, for those who are serious about your faith, family, and finance, go right over there. Join for free, even if you want, especially if you're in debt. If you're in debt, don't pay for any other subscriptions. Just join for free. Even use the welcome code 50. Put that in if you need something extra. But I thank y'all. Make sure that you give the comments. Make sure that you like. More importantly, though, make sure you share this game with somebody. It will change their life. Y'all, be blessed. It's a family business.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen and Kayai, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.